Eugenicists, bioethicists argue killing newborn babies should be allowed. Obama promises Israel use of bases for Iran attack if it will wait. And our guest dropped. We're trying to get him back on to just give us a blurb on how the process, how they defeated him. If not, we'll get him back on to break that down. I was going to have him on for like 10 minutes, but I went to a whole rant about it. Obama promises, again, Israel use of bases for Iran attack if it will wait. Vaccination rights attorney Patricia Finn threatened with criminal charges if she keeps explaining to people there's no law of their kids to take vaccines. She goes in when the schools say it's the law, you got to take shots, shows it isn't, and instead of the criminals getting in trouble, they're talking about disbarring her. You got her on yesterday. Amazing interview right there in an article. Also, the secret media war of 2012. Pasteurized milk linked to cancer. InfoWars Nightly News video. Very important. 11 reasons to get your kids out of government schools. Man, I meant to cover that. That is an amazing article. And then there's this other big report here that I mentioned, but it's such big news. Doomsday in Wyoming. InfoWars Nightly News. And the newspapers are reporting they're preparing basically for the federal government to totally collapse. And so Wyoming would have to take over the government and run things itself, which is what the states are supposed to do to begin with. And FEMA puts out contract for emergency camps to house displaced citizens. So that's all up there right now. Utah is moving to block the NDAA, which openly allows the secret arrest of citizens and more. Also, the U.S. is to repatriate undocumented immigrants. The Big Sis is going to make the illegals legal, all part of their treacherous activity against this country. That is all some of the news at Infowars.com and Prisonplanet.tv. And we've got Aaron Dykes coming up to be breaking down what's happening on all of these fronts and more for one segment. And then Cindy Sheehan is going to be popping in. And I really like Cindy. You know, she lost her son. She gave her son to the that was Kurt Nemo's term. You know, she gave her son to the empire, but that wasn't enough that her son died in Iraq. The IRS is now coming after her, and she's publicly said she's protesting not paying the income tax. We didn't have the income tax till 1913. It's paid to the private Federal Reserve. The average public didn't pay any income tax until the 1950s. Some paid a war tax in the 40s. They were like, well, it's World War II. Well, pay the income tax now for the general public. And it's all paid to the foreign banks. It's all paid on the national debt. All the other taxes, the gas taxes, the excise taxes, the different tariffs, that's supposed to run the small federal government. But now more, and the feds always want more. And, of course, special interests sidle up, get in control of the system and do that. As we go out to break, again, I barely spent any time the last 2 hours, and I got to put gas in the tank, literally and figuratively. We're trying to grow the crew. We're trying to put out more news packages, more information. We're trying to respond. In fact, I even tried earlier. I had Darren McBreen in here in studio with me. I was asking him about some of the great news packages he did last week that I know I never played here on air. So I'm trying to have some synergy where I air the nightly news pieces on the radio show. But I've learned in a culture when it's not corporate, it's always hard to get something new done. And then once you're able to do it, because there's packages every night that are 2-3 minutes long that subscribers see, but the general public never hears or sees here on the radio. And I will take the great work of our reporters, and I will air it. But there is a factor. The globalists know in human training that once they get you set in your ways, it's almost impossible to get you out of it. We will start airing all these packages here. It will happen. In fact, during the break, I'm going to find out what some of the packages were that I tried to find out earlier, and I'm going to air them. Nothing's going to stop me unless God wants to.
A little over a year ago, I began to do
By the way, Rosalind Peters, a geoengineering expert who's gotten so many documents, it blows my mind, that we interviewed her on the news Friday, and I'm going to air that tomorrow here on the radio because it's a 10-minute piece, and she breaks down evidence she's gotten, evidence of them trying to artificially melt the Arctic so they can then blame humans for global warming and have it as a pretext to take our rights, but also as an added little goodie that will allow the oil companies to go in and exploit it, to melt down many of those coastal areas at least. And we know there's geoengineering going on. It's just the details are classified. So that's big. In fact, I want to get her maybe later in the week or next week on the show to break that down. That is big news. When we carry the film, What in the World Are They Spraying by G. Edward Griffin, well, he's in it, by some other great filmmakers, at Infowars.com if you want to support us and get a tool to wake people up. We've also got the Noble Lie DVD, the first ever really full-length professional modern film on the false flag terror attack that was Oklahoma City, that was to blame the proto-Tea Party conservative libertarian awakening against the UN. We have back in print, we had some more printed, and we're going to get even more printed as those run out. I'm not the publisher, but I helped him get more printed. That is, of course, the author of Bloodlines, the Illuminati, Fritz Springmeier. We need to get Fritz back on when I'm back in town, maybe next week. I'll be back tomorrow night, but I want to get him on next week to do that. Now, I'm going to turn things over to the one, the only, Aaron Dykes, who got a big round of applause in Dallas and also there in Orlando. I want to thank everybody again for coming out. It was amazing. And I'm seeing the reviews of it. People really love both events, and I will be doing more. Now it's time to go up through the west and then up into the northwest and then back down through Colorado and the rest of it. I'm going to do a big trip. Maybe early, midsummer, I'm not sure yet, but a big, fat, juicy, marauding trip because things are getting so bad, things are falling apart so quickly that who knows in the future if I'll even be able to drive around the country. And they're already federalizing everything, checkpoints, hands down the pants at the airports, TSA on the highways. I mean, this is one of the last times to go see the info warriors as America goes dark and shuts down. We're trying to stop that. And everything we're saying is come true, but they're like, okay, they're going to secretly arrest and kill people in our building camps. You're still a kook. And they are going to release a super flu blueprint so anybody can create it and kill billions. But so what? That's not a big deal. So what, fearmonger? Aaron, you now take over the transmission. Cindy Sheehan's coming up, but you've got the floor, my friend. Briefly, though, what did you think of Orlando and Dallas? I mean, am I hyping that this was amazing? The energy was so incredible.
Oh, it's very energetic, and that's the very point I was going to make. I get way too much credit, Alex. I don't know why you always throw it to me, but yeah, people come out, and I hope those are the same people out there being activists and so many more at other spots across the country, but the enthusiasm was literally palpable. It was tangible. And that's a great thing. And, of course, we've done so much that it's obvious now what the problems are, and people just have to respond to them and wake up. It's
bizarre to have, like, an Elvis deal, women especially trying to jump over the thing at me. I mean, it's really getting crazy. Folks, this is about the info war. And I'll tell you, Aaron, why I build you and McBreen and John and the whole crew up. Because you guys are doing the research, you're seeing the same info, you've got the same passion, Rob Dew, Paul Watson, everybody. It's not about just writing articles and editing videos about the great Alex Jones, okay? It is about other leaders in this fight. Sure, I'm obnoxious. Sure, I'm so chomping at the bit to fight globalists. I'm, jumping in and ranting and raving because I'm here to build up Ron Paul. I'm here to build up Aaron Dykes. I'm here to build up G. Edward Griffin. I'm here to build up Aaron Russo. I'm bringing a lot of times old timers to bigger audiences than they've ever seen. I'm bringing people that are new to audiences that they would have never seen. I'm bringing activists on the stage that are having victories to audiences they would have never even imagined being able to reach, because this is a blessing that we've got, and I'm thankful for it. And I realize every day we're on air is an incredible blessing. Now, I'm kind of like Senna. Great movie, by the way. It's now on Netflix. True story. The Formula One racer who would overdo it sometimes and be so far ahead that he'd blow an engine or wouldn't pull in to get his tires replaced and would wreck. I've got to learn and mature how to back off. But I told people in the speech, it's not arrogance. It's not bravado. It's not ego that I'm so aggressive and loud. It is anger. It is frustration. It is rage. It is focus. It is, and so I'm trying to cool off here. But the point is, that's why I'm trying to build up other people, Aaron, who are doing great jobs in their own way. And the entire crew up there is absolutely kicking butt. And I want the crew to realize that this is a mission we're on. This is a big deal. I want the listeners to understand this. We may not be here in the future. We may get shut down. Things are going dark, Aaron. This New World Order is real. This global government's real. What's happening is real. And we better use the internet and talk radio while we've still got it and fight to keep it free, but both. We better understand that this is important. It's all happening. It's real. Our worst analysis has been confirmed in spades, in triplicate, Aaron. I'm going to get out of here or I'll keep ranting. I got to go get packed or I'll never get down the road in time. We're learning a lot on this trip. Again, great job to the entire crew and the whole audience. But Aaron, I'm going to let you take it away with whatever news you want to cover. You got Cindy Sheehan coming up here. So you go ahead, my friend. And we've got a lot more coming up on the road tomorrow here for radio listeners and the nightly news. What are you doing the nightly news tonight, Aaron?
Yeah, that's right. We got all kinds of things coming up, including the secret media war of 2012. And what you're talking about is true, especially in the sense that it's not about any one focal point, Ron Paul, Alex Jones, whatever. It's the fact that once you begin to see in that they live metaphor kind of way, there's no turning back, Alex. And that's why they're in so much trouble. That's why you've got the press.
Aaron, I'm letting you go. Good job, folks.
Thanks,
I'll be
Alex.
listening on my iPhone, free iPhone app, and I might call in during the Sheehan stuff. God bless you.
God bless, Alex. Travel safe. But you've got the reporters talking about how their whole phony establishment is coming down, and Ron Paul's a direct threat to that. This article beginning with the quote, "See this room? 2/3 of us will be laid off when Ron Paul's president." A hot microphone picked up a reporter attacking Ron Paul recently before a Pentagon briefing began. And it's just illustrative of the fact that you can't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. All the king's horses, all the king's men, all the liars for this empire, all the deceivers, all the people setting up the false paradigms, all this entire system of Hobson's choices, of false choices, people. You can't go back to seeing it any other way. And that's why there's so many enthusiastic people out there. And if they will just activate and turn to their friends, their family, people who don't believe, those who are 1 foot in and 1 foot out, those who are on the fence, we're going to win this thing because we do have truth on the side. And you just can't see it any other way once you realize what a grand deception all of this is. Politics just being one slice, one sector of it. And you've seen him throwing out all the stops. It wasn't enough just to black out Ron Paul or cheat him in the election. They've got to try to sabotage everything he stands for because they know it's so much more than the electability of Ron Paul. Whatever ends up happening with the actual election cycle, there is a revolution underway of ideas, and that is what the system is most afraid of, in my view. Of course, you've got other stuff here. Warren Buffett, who's begged, quote unquote, the system to tax billionaires and millionaires more than they have, another Hobson's choice, is out today in Bloomberg talking about how the banks were the ones victimized by excesses of ousted homeowners and how many people who foreclosed actually picked up a lot of cash, implying that they did something deceptive and exploitative. That's ridiculous because we know how much the system has set this entire thing up. Goldman Sachs, who Warren Buffett has backed publicly, just one of the companies who bet against the systems in place, who are trying to backstop all this, betting against AIG and manipulating so many other markets. And I've got to tell you, I'm not going to forget about the fact I was there in 2006, the first time I was at a Bilderberg meeting, didn't even know totally what to make out of it, but I began studying the list and listening to what all the experts there said and what came out of the meeting. Didn't know if it was going to be true, but it came out of that meeting in 2006 that they were going to pop the housing bubble and begin the economic crash. Nobody knew for another 2 years, a year and a half, till 2007, leading into 2008, that crash was indeed upon us. But look, that information proved to be accurate. So has a lot of other insider information that experts like Jim Tucker, the veteran Bilderberg sleuth, Daniel Estwell, and others have gotten out of those meetings. And now you see it here. People like Warren Buffett, again, backing Goldman Sachs, backing Bank of America, and backing the banking system in general, and telling us again that the victims, the people out of homes in this nation, are the ones to blame when the system knowingly, fraudulently rated their loans as AAA, got them into loans they knew they couldn't pay back just to build up this system and make money on both sides of it as it goes up and down. Just disgusting. And I know Alex has already covered the ethicist arguing to kill newborn babies and how it should be allowed to have infanticide up to the second or